I'm Justin.
And we're back with the Brother Side Podcast. Today we have local celebrity Danny Garcia from Lemon Fresh Day. What's up, Danny?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
We're great. Thanks for being with us, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, super happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So we got you out of the house.
Yes, on this gloomy day.
Super gloomy. Terrible weather.
And once again, we're back to vodka sodas.
Yeah.
Any significance there?
I guess low calorie, low carb, get you a nice clean meat buzz without the loaf of bread feeling afterwards.
Yeah. Oh,
good.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
whatever gets the job done, right?
Yeah, we kind of explained our love for vodka soda, but yeah, it's delicious.
Just booze in general, really.
Yeah.
So,
basically.
Danny, if you want to tell our listeners a little bit about where you're from, where you're raised, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm very proud to say born and raised, educated, and employee created in Omaha.
Okay.
All the guys that are currently in the band now were all from this area. Went to Ralston High School, graduated from UNO, worked for, I guess, like the corporate side was Pioneer Investments that used to be in Regency, and then Lemon Fresh Day for
Lemon Fresh Day, huh?
Did you grow up in Ralston?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Born in South Omaha, and I think from like 5 years old I was in the area.
Ralston? Okay.
Were you in a fraternity?
No. When the band originally formed, I was an original member. And the original singer and the original bass player were both members, alum of the SIG-UP fraternity at UNO.
Okay.
And so they were able to use their...
I was
SIG-UP.
SIG-UP at UNO for 1 year.
I think one was the VP, Jerry, the bass player, was a VP, and Dan, our lead singer, was a treasurer, I guess. So they pulled some because we needed a place to practice. My garage wasn't cutting it.
Not great acoustics in the garage.
It was just cold.
Yeah.
But no, that's where we that was the tie to the SIG-UPs. And then fast forward, roughly 20 years later, we connect with the SIG-UPs out of Kearney. And now we do an annual bash with UNK.
Sweet.
Yeah, we play for pretty much all the universities around, like the bigger universities around, other than the one that I graduated from. UNO, if you're listening.
Just UNO snubbing on you?
Give me a call.
Screw you,
That's a
UNO.
call out. Yeah.
We both graduated from UNO too. So
No, all I did was graduate with honors from that school. So
yeah, apparently that wasn't good enough. You didn't give them enough money, apparently.
Sociology. I majored in sociology, by the way. What'd you graduate?
I was general studies with an emphasis in political studies. You know what? Okay, I got an associate's in fire protection technology because I'm a firefighter in Papillion. And that turns out those credits don't transfer into anything. So when I wanted to get a bachelor's degree and extend it out, I was going to have to go like an additional year and a half if I didn't go general studies. So I didn't want to do that, and I just decided to go the general studies route, but I took mostly political science classes.
Is there a gym class in general studies?
There should have been. But you know what? What's funny is it's a huge number of general studies degree. It was the biggest. When it was graduation time, it was the biggest number of people graduating.
Yeah, BG. Yeah, actually, that's what I have. It's a Bachelor of General Studies in Sociology.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yours was in?
Political science.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but, it's because everybody goes to college for
We'll talk off podcast.
Yeah,
we'll
about
have conversations about that.
Yeah. Nobody, when you go to college, you're like, I don't know what I want to do. And I started business and accounting, and I ended up firefighting. So, everyone seems to bounce around from degree to degree, and all of a sudden you have all these credits don't match, and that's why general studies kind of fits.
Yeah.
For you.
For me.
So let's talk about Lemon Fresh Day. You started in 98.
98, yeah. Well, 90 is when we, I guess 97, but we say 98 because that's what the first show was, roughly.
Okay. So how'd the idea come about to start a band?
Actually, it's a very direct story. There was a band out called Lava Rockets. They were very, very popular, and the lead singer had just left, and then the bass player was shortly thereafter, and then the original guitar player was still in Lava Rockets.
Okay.
And he felt an allegiance to the original two guys because they were kind of the ones that got him in the band. So they're like, okay, well, let's start a little side band, but, you know, just every once in a while. So there was already 3 people. You already had a singer, you already had a bass player, and you already had a guitar player. The guitar player knew me and my friend that was a drummer, so we were the final 2 pieces of that puzzle that kind of brought it all together. We were starting out. It was so funny because when the band first started, I hated almost every song we did. I hated it or just didn't know what it was.
Sure.
I was just so happy to finally be in a band that was possibly maybe going to make it out of the basement.
Yeah.
Because, you know, to that point, you know, I was successful in school and, you know, boring stuff. But yeah, I wanted, no relationship and no band. You know, as long as it was just me, I could take care of it. But something that involved something else. So failed band after failed band. And you know, as a kid looking for an identity, that's what I ultimately settled on. And so these guys brought me in, and I was playing with guys that I knew were already playing out, and I knew it was my ticket kind of to, I guess, any kind of credibility, or at least just leaving the basement.
Yeah.
So I was more than happy to play all this college alternative stuff that I was not interested in, like Dada and Material Issue, and these bands that to this day I don't even know what they are.
Yeah,
But
I've heard of. Yeah.
I got to be in a band, and that was it.
So how old were you when this started? 18, 20?
Oh goodness, yeah. I like to joke around that, you know, when I
Maybe
tell
we should
people
go
that
there.
we're 20, you know, we're celebrating coming up on 23 year anniversary will be in February.
wow.
Jeez.
So I joke that we started the band when I was 7, but it was right after college, right after I graduated college.
Okay. So you weren't banging around in mom and dad's basement like.
Oh, I
Pissing them
totally
off.
was.
Yeah. Did you know, like, from a young age that you wanted to be in a band, like because you were always playing an instrument, or?
You know, here's the funny thing. I have made a career in managing and running the business that is this band. And I
Right.
never took a business class. I never took a music class. I never took, like, you know, lessons. I never took choir, chorus, none of that stuff.
You were never in any of that?
I was never in
Holy
any of that
cow.
stuff. No.
Really?
I was truly a kid with no kingdom. I was just looking for a place to fit in. And, you know, and I was shy, and I was picked on, and I was like the only Mexican at my school, and I was young for my grade. So like everything was like perfectly percolating and bubbling up into like what a lot of musicians are. I tried cartooning for a while, and then I originally wanted to be like a shredder, like a guitar god. I
Yeah.
never really wanted to be a singer. But I never took lessons, and I took the cheap and easy way out every single time. That then originally I was like, okay, I can sing. And it was so funny because the original singer, when he was leaving, they're like, oh, we need a singer. We need a
Lava
singer.
Rockets.
The singer that left Lava Rockets, we're talking the early Lemon Fresh Day,
Okay.
the original
Okay.
lineup. And,
Okay.
and they're like, well, who can we get to be the lead singer? And I'm like, me.
You're
I
like,
can do it. And they're like,
hand.
yeah, I literally did
Yeah.
that.
Like anybody-
at a
you know.
band meeting, I think we were at the Ice
Short
House, the
straw.
original Ice House on 84th and Giles. And I'm like, me? And they're like, dude, come on, you're not good enough. And,
Thanks,
Thanks.
guys.
Yeah,
I can't
appreciate
remember
it.
how we went, but after a little while, I convinced him to let me do it. And so, yeah, I was a lead singer for a short while, and then like we broke up for like maybe a year. I formed a little side project with a few guys from the Confidentials. We called that band 7, even though there were 6 of us. And then Lemon Fresh Day got back together with that original members, and then just bit by bit, guys, you know, fall along the wayside and go back to their original careers or new wives or children or whatever. And
So Lemon Fresh Day, how'd you come up with the name?
Yeah, where does that come from?
I like it. I just
Yeah.
there's gotta be a story.
In the base, matter of fact, we used to get that asked that so often. I wound up like, putting the story on our website, so it's on lemonfreshday.com. But it happened in the SIGET basement. We could not come up with a name. We couldn't. And considering what the music we were playing, you can't call yourself like Black Death and be like a church band. You know, the name has to reflect the angle that you're going.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's representative of who you are to a certain extent.
So the reason I had mentioned the band Material Issue before is because they sing a song called Little Christine. And a great example of a song that I was happy to learn, even though I couldn't stand this music, just so I could be in a band.
Yeah.
And the chorus is on Little Christine, and it's sustained out. And there's harmonies. It's kind of pretty, I guess. And one of the fraternity brothers heard this song, and he had never heard it before. He just heard how it was being sung, and he thought we were singing it. So he comes downstairs like, hey, I really like that Lemon Fresh Day song you guys were singing. So the rest of the band just lost it. They're laughing. They're like, that's it. That's the band name. I'm like, no, that's awful. And I'm like, that's like a product. And they're like, no, you're thinking of Lemon Fresh Joy, Lemon Fresh Pledge. And we looked it up, and there was nothing. And we took a vote, and I was the only one to vote against it. And all these
Majority
years later,
rules?
Majority rules.
Now it's my business. Yeah. And for the first couple of years, when people would say, what's the name of your band? Without a hiccup, without missing a beat, I would always say, I know it's a stupid name, but Lemon Fresh Day. And I remembered like the day when I'm like, I no longer had to say, I know it's a stupid name, because I had to apologize. I just didn't. I never liked the name. I never liked it for years.
So it just kind of like clicked with you? Like you're just like,
well,
this is us. This is who we are. And I'm cool with that.
It's just so, I don't know. There's obvious nicknames and teasing nicknames that can be replaced, and we've heard them all. I don't know. When we do a big majority of our business in the summers, when we do our big festivals and all that stuff that goes on in the summer times that are exclusively summer events. And we've just had amazing, I don't want to knock on wood because I don't want to mess up your podcast, but just amazing luck with having good weather. And I always say that's why we called ourselves Lemon Fresh Day, not Crappy Rainy Day.
Yeah, you're right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So.
No, that's cool. I mean, it's worked out for you. You guys are the #1 local band here in Omaha, right? You've been voted.
That's what the signs say.
That's what the signs say. No, I mean,
I'll listen to the sign.
I'm a big fan. I know when you guys are out and about, I'm down to go. I mean, I've probably been going to your shows for probably 10 years. I mean, not regularly, but I know when you're around, it's like, it's Lemon Fresh Day. It's you guys, and Hi-Fi Hangover is always kind of like the staple in Omaha. Yep. So, how many members have traded out over the years?
I counted it out a couple of years ago.
Counted it out. Carry the two.
Yeah. Well, I think it was at 15.
15
ex-members. Yeah.
Is there any that are besides you the same?
No, I'm the last.
You're the only
guy standing. Yeah.
The only guy standing.
Yeah. I always tell people I didn't form the band. I'm just the guy that turned it into a business. So yeah. I forgot what you asked right away.
How many people were?
Yeah, 15 over the years. Pretty much everybody's left on good terms. I would say nothing breaks up a band like a job, a baby, or a woman. Yeah.
Damn women.
Yoko.
Yeah. So I mean, I've got a 7-year-old, so I waited as long as I could for the child aspect of it. But so the guys that I'm with now.
They've been around for a while.
Yeah. Like. What's different about this particular lineup is now, because before everybody was, even I was, when we first started, we were all corporate guys,
It was a side piece.
Yes, yeah. And for basically for every other band, that's what it is. Everybody's got a day job. We're the only ones that don't. Like, this is
all four of you?
Well, our bass player is an electrician by day, and our drummer delivers produce.
Okay.
But that's just because he keeps having kids, so he has to have more money.
I need the bennies.
But again, if we have an out of town gig, he gets to tell his boss, hey, we're going. So
sure.
And that's always nice. Because at first you're always like, man, if you do have a day job, well, what if we get a gig? But we're at a point where people, if you're working for somebody, they like to tell people, hey, guess who's working for me? And
right.
That's how,
So how scary was that when you made the plunge out of the corporate world into Lemon Fresh Day full time?
All band, all the time.
It was...
that had to be nerve-wracking.
It absolutely was, because I didn't quit a job. I mean, it was a career. I had a very successful corporate career. I ran customer service departments, all of the customer service departments for a mutual fund company. And we were headquartered out of Boston. So I ran from basically all the departments at my location in Omaha, in addition to our Boston headquarters. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of how I learned to basically run all the aspects of my business, because I'm everything from the CEO to the janitor.
Right.
But the day, because it was tough. I had realized that as far as corporate jobs went, I had achieved exactly what I wanted, but I wasn't happy.
Right.
And there was no reason for me not to be happy based off of what I had, the position. And it wasn't just about money. It wasn't just about like the title. It was just about the freedom. Mm-hmm. And because I wasn't responsible, like I wasn't a manager. I wasn't responsible for a team or any individuals. I was a liaison between training and management. So I just kind of oversaw, the work and made, suggestions and helped build, customer service. So when I told my boss I was going to quit, she offered me a promotion to try to keep me from leaving.
Sure.
And had I taken that job, right above that was vice president.
Wow.
So,
Wow, that's bold. So
So I was, but my parents were. Well, I didn't tell them. I was raised very old fashioned.
Yeah, let's get into the parents. What do they say?
I was thinking about it, and I had asked myself this question, or what I just posed this to myself. The only way you're going to guarantee to fail is if you never try.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get past that.
Sounds like an Alex quote right there.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was, if I never tried it, I was guaranteed to fail because I never tried. And I was like, 5 years. If I can do 5 years, I won't have embarrassed myself. It was on my 8-year anniversary of quitting, like the week before celebrating 8 years of being self-employed. I heard from a fellow employee back there that the office had shut down, that the company had been bought out. So I would have lost my job anyway.
Wow. So it's just like,
everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
As they say.
You jumped and it was just ended up being the perfect timing anyway.
Yeah. So it's been over 13 years now.
Wow.
And haven't looked back. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. I had my kid after I quit. I had bought my house after I quit. So yeah. But I was a responsible kid. I did all the right things. I lived at home for a long time before I, moved out. My school was paid for, so leaving without any debt, that helps out a lot. So kids, debt, don't have it. Don't do it.
Yeah, we were fortunate too. We had good parents that helped us out along the way with debt and everything, so we understood that.
Yeah, I was 14 years old, and my dad, I want to play guitar. I want to be a guitar player, and buy me a guitar, or will you buy me a guitar? And he's like, nope.
Really?
You're not going to be one of those guys. I've never asked you for anything. And I was like, the mere fact that I'm asking you, you should know that I mean this. And he's like, well, if you buy it yourself, you're that much more
committed to it.
Apt to stick with it. Mm-hmm. And I was, so again, my aunt owns Maria's Mexican restaurant.
Oh, okay.
So she got me a job, paying me under the table, washing dishes. And so, I bought my first guitar that way.
That's awesome. Was the original intent to play guitar to pick up chicks?
That's the only. Why
does anyone buy a guitar?
Funny, right? That's the only reason anybody buys a guitar. That's exactly what it was. Again, as a kid, just trying to find an identity, and then this kind of came on, and I grew up listening to Kiss, like most rockers my age do or did, and it was absolutely a way. And even in college, like I was that dorky kid that brought his acoustic guitar to the house parties. Like I was that.
What's up, ladies? Yeah. Who wants some of Danny tonight?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not drunk enough. All right, I'll listen to you later.
Give me one more, Danny. That's awesome. I tried guitar for
5 minutes.
It's damn close. Maybe like 6 months, freshman year of college.
Same reason.
Trying to do that whole thing. I think I got to Smoke on the Water, which is like the easiest guitar song, right? Isn't that what they start everybody with?
That's very, very easy.
So I could do that, and then I was like, this is taking too much time, and I gave it up. And I don't have the vocals.
Well, you were running a business then too, and so it wasn't like you had your time was in the winter only. So when spring and summer hit, because he was running Elkhorn Lawn Care at the time.
Oh. So what I'm trying to say is, since I gave up guitar, I remained sexually frustrated.
Okay.
That's what that equated to.
I was able to take it. If you had not made that decision, I would not be here today. Yeah. So thank you for stepping out of the way.
Those 6 months were glorious, though.
And allowing me to. Everybody should really pick up an instrument. All of my best friends, all of my closest friends, all regret, because at a certain point I had told them, man, pick up a bass, start playing bass guitar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because generally that's the last, people play drums and guitar, bass is usually the one, and every single one of them, like, man, I should have listened to you.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for, mental health right now, especially everything that's going on right now. It's a good outlet. It's kind of ruined me. I don't get to listen to the radio for pleasure anymore, mostly because there's no, all the new music today, there's no instruments anymore, so it's really hard to try to stay current with new stuff.
A lot of electronic.
Yeah, it's really tough. Like the fact that a man of my years of experience is, just yearning for more Jonas Brothers tunes, because they're the only ones that actually play instruments and sing songs and do harmonies and stuff. Like I said, a man of my experience.
So you're saying you become a bit of a music snob?
I don't know that I.
Or you appreciate good musical talent.
Well, I can. I remember the day that I had to admit I like Justin Timberlake. Because
you know what?
Now
that's
he's very
not a
acceptable.
bad thing.
Now, but in the
Yeah.
NSYNC Backstreet, I'm not even sure which one he was in.
Yeah, you do.
NSYNC.
Tell us.
He was NSYNC. Come on.
NSYNC.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we do.
I'm
we
a
do an
JT
NSYNC
fan
song.
myself.
We do. Yeah. Now it's easy to say.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for me to bravely
Yeah.
pronounce that I like the Jonas
Swim in
Brothers.
those waters.
I was always a big proponent of Hanson as well.
Yeah.
Those young kids with the harmonies. Boy.
Yeah.
We did that song for a short bit. It didn't quite take off like we thought it might.
No.
Yeah, we thought we'd get,
Was it during their popularity?
No,
okay.
goodness, no. It was like last summer, actually.
Oh, okay.
Last summer.
Very
Try
recent.
to revive it, yeah, just
Very
to see.
So
recent.
that moment, did you just stop and be like, okay, next song, or
we did it throughout the summer. It just, there are songs that are harder than others, but when the feedback is worth that extra effort.
Yeah.
This was one where I'm like really straining my voice, where I'm technically or potentially harming it for the next song on a song that isn't quite getting the response as some of the other ones do. So you just kind of go by the wayside.
Yeah,
Huge.
That's a good point. What's the least performing song that you guys have done or do? Where people just don't respond to?
Yeah, how do you decide? Is it just based on crowd reaction mostly?
That ultimately determines what stays and what goes.
Sure.
Our current active library, because there's tons of songs that we used to play that, if you asked us to play them now, we just wouldn't remember it. But we've got enough of an active set list to probably do 2 entire nights not repeating a single song.
Jeez. How many songs do you do in a night? Just so I had
40 plus.
That's impressive.
I looked on
just to remember that.
Yeah.
When you play the songs all the time, but it's important to stay current. All the bands that have been around, generally that have been around for as long as we have, there's the burnout. People get tired of seeing that same band over and over and over, and having been made aware of that, or being fully aware of that, which is why it's so important to constantly be updating your library.
Right.
And including songs of today, not just everything classic rock, because then the next thing you know, your age demographic is older than you would like it to be.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with an elder demographic, because they're the ones with the expendable income. The young kids don't have anything. But you want to be, if you are, like when we're playing for UNK, or if we're playing for UNL, we want to make sure that we've got a full night of material that's going to please 22-year-olds just as it would a 42-year-old.
Right. These guys have never heard of Led Zeppelin before, so...
Well, you'd be surprised. Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Right now, 90s is really making a big comeback. Right now. And 90s is tough because there wasn't a lot of dancing in the 90s. That music
not good dancing.
Yeah, well, the
hammer
the
pants
shoulder shrug. Yeah, the shoulder shrug,
the
the emo lurching type of stuff.
Right.
So who's the band that you try to play the most? I would imagine, if I were to guess, Maroon 5 to be relevant. I feel like they got some good tunes.
They do a lot of music.
They do. We've done a lot of Maroon 5 tunes throughout the years. Songs like we used to do. We used to do She Will Be Loved. Every time you'd have a new, for their first 2 albums, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not so much a fan of their music now.
It's very pop.
It's all processed
poppy.
and it was weird. So right now, I think we're actively doing 2 or 3 Maroon 5 songs.
Okay.
We brought back Harder to Breathe. I think we do Moves Like Jagger, and I'm missing one.
That's
he's up there too, Adam.
He very much is, yeah.
Levine?
Yeah, and
falsetto? Would you call it falsetto?
Yeah, and I also know
Whoa! Look at you.
when he records, it's in one voice, and then when he goes live, he goes half a step down. So he's never kind of hitting that stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, he's fantastic. Him and Justin Timberlake, and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You have quite the range. What singers would you say you resemble the most? Because I know when you sing, you can kind of make it sound like the real person.
Thank you. As a kid, see, this all kind of came about being in a cover band because I never really got to experience the original, writing my own stuff like all my other bandmates and most other credible musicians in town did. I, as a kid, wanted to do like cartoon voices. Like I wished I could do like Bugs Bunny and like do all that stuff.
Do you have a
But I
Bugs Bunny?
couldn't. Oh no, no.
I was gonna say if he did. I don't think he'd bust it out right now.
It was a catastrophic failure. But when I started to realize that I could make the sounds and I could sound like Bret Michaels, I could sound like John Bon Jovi, I could and like Gary Cherone from Extreme. I could. So like I don't sing the words, I sing the sounds that they make. If you come out to a show and hear me do Talk Dirty to Me, you can totally tell I'm doing a Bret Michaels impression.
Sure.
I'm not singing. Danny Garcia is not singing that song. That is my Bret Michaels impression. Troy, my bass player, now does Nothing But a Good Time. But back when I was doing Nothing But a Good Time, I would do the same thing. I try to do the same thing with Bon Jovi.
Just the little things that he does.
Yeah, there are little nuances. Yeah. Absolutely. It drives me nuts when I'll see, because a lot of the bands, a lot of our peers, we play a lot of the same songs, like Shut Up and Dance, things that, and Jesse's Girl, things that the crowd is expecting you to play. Sure. When you go, I just forgot where I was going with that. What was I just saying? I'll do that a lot.
It was. The question was, who are, let's just say, the top 5 people that you resemble the most. Bon Jovi.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, again, I think I do a pretty mean Paul Stanley. But depending on the song, yeah, I'm always trying to. We're either going to try to sound just like it, or we're going to go the other way, like when we do Taylor Swift, obviously.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Ooh, I wouldn't want you to sound like her.
Yeah, I think that's a great strategy because you're either, if you're good at it, if you're good at this voice, you resemble it, of course, spot on. But if you're like, that's not quite right there, go complete opposite so that it doesn't sound like you're trying to resemble.
Like again with Neil Diamond, I totally have fun with that. Or even Van Morrison from Brown Eyed Girl. I listen to those and I'm like, okay, I'll make that noise. I do that. It makes it fun.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the entertainment value that I think the crowd gets is like, oh man, like. That is spot on. Like I remember Bret Michaels making those noises or that sound, Like,
it's really cool when you can do that. Yeah. I know there's a band in Omaha that does AC/DC pretty well.
Yeah, Shoot to Thrill.
Yeah, Shoot to Thrill, that's right. And that guy's voice, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, dead on.
Brian Johnson?
Yeah.
Well, Bruce Knapp is his name, the local guy. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, is he trying to?
Yeah, Brian Johnson. Okay. That screechy.
Yeah, spot on. I haven't heard him.
Spot on, yeah.
That's amazing. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. Alex here with the Brother Side Podcast. After years of schooling Justin on the basketball court, my knees remind me every single day of the victory and the wear and tear. 4 knee surgeries to be exact. I recently started taking Able CBD tincture to help with my inflammation, and it's been more of an assist than Justin on the hardwoods. We were introduced to Able CBD through ultramarathoner Adam Monkey, who incorporates these American-made and tested products in his running routine. The Brother Side is super stoked to extend a discount if you're looking to try and manage pain, control inflammation, or need to sleep more naturally. Use the code BRO15, BRO15, to receive a 15% discount at checkout. Visit www.ablecbd.com. Once again, that's www.ablecbd.com. And we're back with the Brother Side Podcast. We have Danny Garcia with the Lemon Fresh Day. Danny was just discussing performances, and we have a question about how do you get prepped for your shows? I mean, the energy that you guys come out with is pretty radical. And it's awesome.
I'm so immature. I immediately want to say cocaine.
Drugs. So much drugs.
Sometimes it is difficult when the crowd isn't what you're thinking it's going to be, or sometimes it's not even the number of people. Sometimes there's a lot of people and there's just no energy in the crowd.
Yeah.
So you do have to create your own. Adrenaline is nice when that adrenaline's in the room. It's easy. You can show up dead tired to a gig and that adrenaline's there, and you just ride that wave.
Right.
Yeah.
But kind of creating your energy is difficult, and it is necessary. Every band out there, no matter how successful you are, I'm sure even the big bands have bad shows.
Right.
It's just relative what's a bad show for a huge band
Right.
versus us. But
you have a lot of other things going on that can mask that for a big band.
But a lot of it is just honestly putting on a smile and faking your way through it.
Really?
Absolutely, body language is everything, and if you're not having a good show or it's a slow turnout, the people that are there, they want to have fun.
Yeah.
They don't want to see your, it's kind of a slow night, I'm just going to
half-ass
it's
it.
easy to fall into that trap, and I know this because I had fallen into that trap. And the great thing about having the bandmates that I do with the years of experience that they do is that I'm still learning, learning how to be a better performer all the time.
Who do you watch anybody, or do you try to emulate anybody? Like, what do you do? What do you do to like better yourself?
I feel I'm just a very poor Mexican version of Paul Stanley. Everything from the way I dance on stage, how I hold my guitar, like I learned a lot from him. I'm pretty much solely influenced by the hair metal days, with the big hair, and every band would have their one ballad. It's
about hair, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you used to have the hair.
I used to have all kinds of hair.
I feel like he's making hair jokes.
Yeah.
Hey. No, so you did have the hair.
Yeah,
What made you change?
Yeah,
Two times. The first time I grew it out, first time that it was as long as it was my college days. It was back when the hippie phase came back for a short while. Remember Blind Melon?
Mm-hmm.
No Rain, the Bumblebee Girl, that right around the grunge time.
Yeah.
But because I measured, it was down to my man nips as long as it was.
My
the
nips.
first times.
My man nips.
I had to cut it the first time because I just graduated college and I was going to get a job at Ameritrade. And he's like, look, I officially can't tell you this, but if you don't cut your hair, we're not going to hire you.
Wow.
And I appreciated his honesty. I knew it was very illegal, but he was honest with me. And I was like, you know what? It's time. I graduated college, time to grow up, be a man.
Big boy job.
Yeah, big boy. Yeah. So I chopped it off then. And then this last time was just because I just hit a major moment in my life. And I was like, it's time for a change again. And I
feel like haircuts do that though,
Well, hair, whether you have none or a bunch or somewhere in between. I can see that it's there.
He pointed at me.
But hey, Bruce Willis pulls it off fantastic. It's a look. It's a thing.
Bruce Willis is also making millions.
That's true.
This podcast is it's just starting. It's still growing.
It's early phases.
Bruce Willis wasn't.
And he's also giving most of those millions away
gate.
to other wives and other places too. I can only imagine that's the reason why he makes all these straight to DVD movies that he does.
Right.
He's got a lot of alimony to pay.
He's the new Nicolas Cage.
Oh, I guess
that guy made so many movies in like the last 5 years.
Yeah,
and they're
John
all junk.
Cusack's
He was in on that pyramid
sticks.
scheme that failed with all the celebrities that were in it.
I don't remember that.
Bernie Madoff.
Oh
Yeah. Nick Cage was on Bernie Madoff and lost almost everything.
I believe Kevin Bacon. Yeah, a lot of big like sports team. Yeah, that was brutal.
That's
and again,
why.
I worked in financial investments at the time, so we knew all about that.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's yeah. That's not pyramid scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Ponzi.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Wow, that's way off topic.
Yeah, no. So let's get back to LFD. What's the biggest event you've done, as far as I guess people? That's how you measure it, right?
How do you measure it? Do you measure it in number of people?
I guess either in number of people or the magnitude of the show itself.
Like meaning?
Yeah. I would say probably the biggest crowd I've ever played in front of was the old days at the Anchor Inn when it was on the river.
Yeah.
7,000 people.
Yeah, they at times there was huge.
And then I would say the other spectrum of like big show was when we did the national convention for the Special Olympics. It was in Lincoln.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
it was huge. I have no idea how many people. I don't think it might have been 7,000, but it was huge. It covered like an entire city block. But it was just so amazing. Just seeing the athletes and the spirit and the energy that was coming off of that.
Yeah.
Like my drummer at the time had a special needs sister that he had lost. So after the show, he went backstage and cried, and I'm pretty sure I cried with him, not because of his sister, but just it was
You
just
feel it.
Awesome, yeah. Powerful stuff. But, you have to treat even the gigs that you're 25 people out there, you have to kind of treat them the same way, getting back to your original question, because, you have to recreate and put on that same show no matter what.
Right. Because the thing is, I would think that if you don't treat it the same, you could get that negative review on social media or something, and it just trickles down to other things. And you're like, you know what? If we have to be who we're going to be, and we're going to be Lemon Fresh Day that just kicks ass every time we go out there.
I remember a story. This was with no one that's currently in the band. It's going to age, so it's at least 10 years old, probably close to 15 years old. This story, we were playing at a now defunct bar, which almost all of them are now. And there was not a big crowd, and I think that there was a Husker game right before we went on, so we very undisciplined with alcohol back then. And as many bands can be. And
drinks were flowing.
So we got there, and we were already pretty much either drunk or buzzed up, probably legally drunk, which for most people is buzzed. And we just phoned it in. Like, we just got drunk and phoned it in. There wasn't that many people there. And I'm telling this story because my guitar player, like that next following Monday or whatever, said, hey, a friend of mine who's a big fan of ours had been bragging to her friend about how good we were, and they finally agreed to come out to a show. And she came out to that show, and we were drunk and we sucked, and her friend was like, this is the band you've been bragging about?
Oh, man.
And that sticks with you.
Yeah.
Obviously it has.
I've been
ago.
to shows where I've seen my friends, peers phone it in, and I was like, dude, I could tell.
Because I've seen you perform.
I've seen you at your best, and so you gotta be careful, because you never know who's in that crowd.
Is that still an issue today? Not to call anybody out, but just to keep everybody disciplined, to say, hey guys, we got to bring it. We got to make sure that we're only having a drink or two before we go
I think it can still be an issue. We're all guilty of it. Sometimes you get caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
But performing sober was a transition for a while too. And
no, I get it.
Yeah. Well, legally, I was forced to have to play sober, and it took a few weeks. It was so weird being a party host with everyone around you drinking and getting drunk, and you're completely sober. Once, like anything else, like I just started wearing contact lenses. This is my second day wearing contact lenses. Once you get used to it, I was like, oh my gosh, I have wasted so many years getting drunk at these shows, because I never realized the natural adrenaline that comes from it.
Right.
And the alcohol honestly ruins that. So I was like, wow, this is amazing. Huh. So whereas you will always see generally I shouldn't say always, but if we have a drink in our hand, our days of performing drunk are, I would say, way behind us.
That's awesome.
And I've talked to, well, again, I have bills to pay, I don't have another job to go to if I got, but I've talked to, some bands don't drink. Some bands, that's all they do is drink. Some bands are known for drinking. Some bands, I won't name names, but they're like one band or even a couple of acoustic guys that are just trash, but man, they're fantastic still. If you can still be that good,
wow,
knock yourself out. It's just most of us, when you're that drunk, you're not. You think you are, but you're not.
No.
You hear one thing, everyone else hears a different.
And it's so funny too, because in my early days of drinking, and you'll hear this from a lot of early singers or first-time singers or whatever, that you need some of that booze for that literal liquid courage to be able to get out there and sing.
How do I dance at weddings? Same thing.
I mean, it's like college, like picking up girls when you're wasted.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, hey, what's up, Lauren? But really, you're like, yeah, Lauren, just like hammered,
I remember being way too overly indulged one night. I like to use words. And I was on a business with my old previous corporate job. I was my first business trip, and I went it was in downtown Boston, and I was talking to this girl, and I remember I was just so drunk, and I didn't remember what to say or do next. And I asked her, and she's like, you already asked me that question. She's like, maybe it's best you just kind of move along. And I'm like, the little Charlie Brown walk, the
bad.
But now I prefer, when you guys were like, oh, we'll have a little drink. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
we just like to loosen it up a little bit.
That's absolutely what it is.
Yeah. I was going to go back to, performing without booze. What was I going to say about that?
It's boring.
Is it? What was it? Oh, this is it. Was it more of a anxiety thing, or just like?
Well, the thing is, I think a little bit, and then it's just to loosen up. Because quite frankly, getting back to like playing in front of a show that's kind of slow, generally a little bit of, God, I hate to say this because I don't want to be pro booze in any way, shape, or form, but generally a little bit of booze will help loosen you up, or in my case, me, so I can go out there and be a little bit more free to just groove a little bit. Right. Whereas if I was completely sober, I might not be so willing. I mean, I joke. You know, girls are like, oh, come dance with me. I'm like, look, I learned to play guitar so I don't have to dance. Like, you know, so yeah, if you're not much, for anybody listening or watching, if you're not a dancer, pick up an instrument.
There you go.
It'll help,
Yeah,
but you're right. When it comes to dancing, I think this is an absolute necessity. I have such admiration for people that can dance, especially sober. And I've seen it at my shows that people will come out and dance. And everybody dances differently. Dancing is an expression of how you feel from that music. And one of a fan became a friend. She was Native American. So when she came out and danced on the dance floor, she would kind of powwow.
Yeah, sure.
That's how the music hit her. And people would film her, and then we've got another guy that comes out and dances a very particular way, and people will film, and it's very snooty. It's very snot. It bothers the crap out of me.
I gotta post this on social media.
Yeah, because look how silly this person is, and whereas they're making fun of them, I'm up there, I would say even jealous that they've got the guts to go out there and do that, knowing people are probably doing that, but they're just out there and I admire that so much.
It's like complete freedom.
Yep. Yeah.
Just like I don't give an F what all these people think. Like I just want to be me, and I'm gonna do it.
And I get that the way that they're dancing is different or even silly or funny, but they're doing what I wouldn't do. So who am I to make fun of that? So I may have gone off on a tangent there, but that was my little
courage comes in all formats.
My little soapbox moment about don't make fun of people.
Do you ever have the temptation to call people out that are filming? Like, hey man, like.
Oh yeah.
Or would that ruin the show? Probably?
Oh man, yeah. There's been a couple of times when I've been bothered by that. I saw somebody was harassing a gay fan at a particular show. I saw a guy sexually harassing this girl on the dance floor in the middle of a song.
And you'll just cut music?
And no, see, this is why this is kind of a weird story because my job is to sing. My job is to entertain. I'm not a bouncer, but I'm also one of the only people that can see what's going on.
Right. Yep. Best view.
Yeah. And so in this moment, I'm having to make the decision, do I stop the show? Do I stop what I'm supposed to be doing? And in the original first parts of the moment watching this go on, because, we're playing dance music, it's a packed dance floor, and he's being very inappropriate. Because I noticed. I mean, it was so inappropriate that I noticed, and I could see her trying to fend him off and stuff, and I kept singing and singing and singing, and the longer I sang, knowing that my job was to sing, I'm not the bouncer, I'm not security, the longer I sang, I felt worse about it. Mm-hmm. So, by sheer coincidence, the song we were singing was 1985 by Bowling for Soup.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there's that part where it's like, please make them stop. So we hit that point, and I'm like, dude, seriously, stop.
Like you in the red shirt.
Yes. Because I didn't want to pull the Sebastian Bach thing where, be the whole rock guy, stop the show. And she maybe could have done, I don't know. I don't know. It was but yes, I've seen all kinds of things that make me uncomfortable or.
Did he stop?
Over time, I believe he wound up walking away at a certain point, but.
That was a perfect segue for that song.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was, yes, it was, I don't know if serendipitous is the right term, but it was. It was just the moment for me to be like, I was like, dude, seriously, stop. And then I went right back into it, and I talked to my bandmates afterwards. I'm like, and they're like, no, dude, your job, but it was just a weird, I hope I'm not offending anybody by the choice or choices or the way that story went, but just that internal struggle of wondering like, wow, because my job was not to stop that,
It'd be really hard.
Yeah, it was nuts. And in the case of when the guy was harassing the gay fan, the friend came up to me and she's like, will you say something on the mic? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to dignify that guy's ignorance on the microphone. So what I chose to do after was get up and instead of calling him out, talking about how grateful we were of all of our fans, and I can't remember if I said, including our LGBT, fans or whatever. And she came up to me after, she's like, "Oh my God, that was awesome." And I'm like, yeah, I was not going to give that guy any kind of attention by pointing him out.
That's smart.
What we do is we're bringing joy, we're bringing happiness. We're making people forget about their work week or the end of the work. Our job is to bring happiness. And segueing into this COVID thing now, people need this release right now. People need this right now. And, the entertainment industry is going to be the last one that's going to be dealt with, it seems like. So for as long as we can continue to do shows, our next show, by the way, is Halloween night at Two Fine Irishmen.
Two Fine Irishmen.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys are doing, it seemed like you did a spinoff with this Tequila Brothers.
Yeah. I started that when I first quit my day job. I assumed I was going to have to supplement my income with doing solo acoustic stuff, and I did that for a short while and realized I don't like being up on stage by myself. I really don't. I mean, you don't split the money with anybody.
I need someone else that they can look at.
I'm just not comfortable. Yeah. I love harmonies, and I'm not I'm not the instrumentalist that a single solo person should be to be a musician and being up there. I will sing over what I can't play. So then when Dave started filling in, Dave from the Fish Heads started filling in, I realized how much more enjoyable that was. The reason I quit my day job is because I wasn't happy. Why should I be performing and not happy?
Right.
Because that's a completely different dynamic of a show where it's not requiring a full huge dance floor and packed bars like Lemon Fresh Day. That's become a pretty hot ticket these days. So very happy about that.
And that's all acoustic?
Me on acoustic and him on piano. We designed it after. I mean, we've been working on the show for years. We're doing it more now, obviously, because Lemon Fresh Day shows are being pulled. But back whenever I'd find a spot, an open spot, or whatever, we'd do this. But over the years, we developed it into. We really love the concept of the dueling pianos.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's very fan interactive.
Incredible.
And so the reason Tequila Brothers is different from a lot of the other acts out there is that it's fully interactive. We hand out sheets of paper. It's got 100 songs on it, and we hand it out, and people will request songs like they're ordering food. They yell out a number.
Sure.
And song number 100 is basically a request anything.
Okay.
Because we've got our laptops and stuff up there, and Dave is just a musical genius. Everything that I'm not. Trained, good, talented.
No,
that's
I think
not.
you're good.
I don't think that's. I wouldn't describe you that way.
Yeah. Now, Tequila Brothers' next show is the night before Halloween, October 30th at Ozzy's Roadhouse.
Yeah, right in La Vista.
Yeah, in that plaza with Elmo Roadhouse.
Do a lot of the local bands get together and hang out, like you guys in Hi-Fi Hangover, for example?
The answer to that is mostly no, because if we're good,
screw you guys.
No, not the exact opposite. Because if we're good, we're working.
Gotcha.
I always say, or it was taught to me, never try. If you're in a band, never try to impress your musician friends, because if they're any good, they're playing anyway.
Okay. They're not in the audience.
Yeah, they're the ones playing. That's why shows like Memorial Sunday at the Surfside, which used to be the old Anchor Inn, why those are so cool, because it's a rare opportunity for the bands to get to hang out and be together and drink together and just bond together, because we don't get to do it like we wish we could.
Sure. I didn't know if there'd be a Tuesday, once a month or every couple months, where you guys could pal around,
like a networking event.
Maybe
just kind of
maybe when we were younger, but at this point in our careers,
everybody's got families.
And people ask us, well, when do you practice? And we're like, every single weekend.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that at some point.
Yeah, because we play so often, we really don't. The only time we practice is when we're adding new material. So we'll get together a few times a year whenever we're adding new stuff. But adding stuff is difficult for Lemon Fresh Day.
How do you decide when it's time? Just
well, I mean, this is a trade secret that's not so secret, because I do tell a lot of people, because I want all of our peers, I want all the bands to succeed. I think of the band scene as like the NFL league.
Yeah.
I mean, the Patriots were the cream of the crop, and they were always the Super Bowl champs every other year. But it takes all 32 teams to make a league for the Patriots to be the best team in the league. It takes all of us together to create this environment in this community, because I need all of us to be good and all of us to be successful to build a community of music and a business of, because otherwise, I have to go get a job.
Yeah. Otherwise,
I have to go back
otherwise
to
DJs take over.
Yeah. So you were asking me about songs or something like that. we want to make sure with us that no matter what we play, if it's AC/DC or if it's Elvis or if it's Whitney Houston or if it's Hanson, it has to be danceable. It has to be known. And everything we do is geared towards ladies. We could care less.
Hey, ladies.
Hey, there we go.
Jinx.
Yeah. God,
we
weird.
could care less what our male fans like. The way we see it, the male fans should like
follow the women.
female crowd.
Yeah.
That's just so everything we do is kind of
101.
geared towards that. There's a reason why we're adding the songs that we do because again, even when we're adding like the hard rock stuff like AC/DC or Poison or we used to do Nirvana or just whatever, like it has to be popular, and it has to be like those rock songs, those aren't really danceable, like Def Leppard, Pour Some Sugar, stuff like that. If a stripper can dance to it, you can dance to it.
Yeah.
So we call that stripper rock. So we when we're doing, so everything that we do is dance related. Somebody had said to me about slow songs because we don't do slow songs. We do Cruise. I think that's a slow song we do. Because somebody had said to me once, and I never needed to hear it again, that when you do a slow song, you have immediately alienated every person in your crowd that doesn't have a date.
That's true.
Florida Georgia line. That's it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, Florida
Okay.
Georgia Line,
Yeah.
So when I heard that, I'm like, oh snap, because we used to do a couple, and then as the new guys join, well, there's I think the Troy and Will have been with me for close to 10 years.
New guy.
Yeah, new guy.
New
Can't say
guy.
that
Carry
anymore.
our speakers.
But one thing that bands do, I think that I don't want to know if mistake's the right word, but when they bring in a new member, like, okay, well, this is your parts, this is what you're supposed to learn. Whenever we added a new member, we kept the philosophy, and when the new guy joins, okay, well, what are you good at? What does your voice sound like?
Sure.
How does that fit into this? And then we will just mold it that way. So anytime a new guy were to join, we don't do, okay, here's our list, learn this. We're like, okay, well, these are the ones we're keeping. We're going to scrap all this because this is just fodder. Let's because you got your core stuff that you're going to keep.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how we were able to do what we do. Troy, co-lead singer, was the frontman for Cheshire Grin. Mm-hmm. His voice is so completely different from mine.
Yeah.
So everything that's low and gritty and the rock stuff, that's his voice. And then our guitar player, Joe, he's all harmonies, very distinct voice. But he sounds like, Billy Idol. He does Billy Idol. He does.
He's very good at that.
Yeah, and he does Ballroom Blitz.
Yep.
Whoever sings that, it's just a weird. So yeah, whoever gets the voice. Gosh forbid anybody leave the band and somebody else were to come in.
And your drummer's got a couple songs, doesn't he?
Just the one.
Or just one?
Just the one.
Which one's that?
Baby Got Back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because he always throws his hat back.
Yeah, because he doesn't get a mic. He doesn't sing at all.
Yeah.
He just stands back there and just makes everybody move and groove all night long.
Yeah,
and then he comes out and. We actually had to stop that song for a while. He's the baby of the band. He's the youngest guy, but he had a heart attack a couple years ago.
How old is
Jeez.
he? Baby, how old is the baby?
Oh man, I'm afraid
We're calling
to
it
say.
out. We're calling it out.
I think he's 40.
Okay.
But he had a heart attack, and so we had to stop doing that for a while until he got his heart back and got himself back in shape. And yeah, don't smoke.
Don't smoke.
Yeah. But yeah, he's back to doing it again, especially now that we're not playing that often anymore.
How often are you guys playing right now?
About a month ago, we started to have at least one show a month, or we did 2 nights back to back, recently, which was cool. But now things are starting to get canceled again. Like we were supposed to have a show this Saturday with Michelle that got canceled, unfortunately, because of COVID, directly because of COVID. And
I was gonna go.
oh well,
Yeah.
now
The Halloween party?
Yeah, it's Bushwhackers.
That's right.
Yep. So that got canceled, and then just some of the private stuff. So, and right now, like Tequila Brothers are getting all the offers, but my allegiance and my responsibilities, plus I make more money with Lemon Fresh Day, is to try to do that. But unfortunately, with this COVID situation, we are victims of our own success because our crowds are meant to be packed. Our shows are meant to be everybody on top of each other. It's the exact opposite of what's unfortunately,
What about outdoor venues? Is there a way to make that work?
Well,
not going into winter, but
not going. But Two Fine Irishmen got a permit to do shows for like an extra 5 weeks outdoors, which was a lot of fun. There's just something different. There's a different vibe about being outdoors where you can feel a lot safer. Plus, you've just you can choose. We did Bash on the Grass at Horseman's Park, which took the place of Beer Fest, which got canceled.
Yeah.
And they did such a good job. We're going to be doing it again next year. And yeah, so you could be hundreds of yards from anybody, or you could have been right on top. And again, we can't stop people. We can't force people to social distance.
Right.
But it is what it is.
So that got canceled this year.
Beer Fest got canceled, got replaced with Bash on the Grass.
Okay. Which is what they did.
Which will be next year. That had Hi-Fi, Echophonic, and Secret Weapon, all the top bands in Omaha.
What's your we're running out of time. What's your favorite local band besides you guys?
Are you your favorite local? No, I'm just kidding.
There's a few bands that I like. I like to see the up and comers because there are some of those. The bands that I would probably see the most, and that was mostly because is probably the Fishheads, because again, Dave being my partner, but they do a lot of Sundays, which is when I get to go. I was seeing Echophonic for a bit. I'll see Hi-Fi when I get a chance, but because we're always playing, I don't get to see the bands like I wish I could. But I also try to see the American Dream, which is a go-go club, so it kind of scares a lot of people off. But they've built this just amazing outdoor venue out back called the Hangout.
Really?
And that's where a lot of the you don't even have to step foot in there. It is a completely different venue. He has done such an amazing job. This awesome outdoor stage, top of the line production, top of the line light show, outdoor heat. There's pool tables. I mean, it's leather couches. It's so
Where's that at
amazing. 74th and F. It's right behind Ozone Lounge on 72nd.
Okay.
But that's where the up and coming bands kind of go to play, and so I got I've recently seen Great Team Hero and Happy Endings and 1-2 Go, and I like to see these bands. I like to be impressed and talk to some of my business partners and say, hey, because they're always looking for up and coming bands.
Are these bands that are up and coming, are they trying to do their own thing, or are they doing similar things?
If you're going to try to do your own thing, you're going to stay in Benson. Benson is where you're going to do your original stuff. Yeah. But if you're going to do the Westo or, right now, Jeepers, it's just... Oh, I said just.
Did you just say Jeepers?
Yeah, you definitely said Jeepers.
Jeez.
Jeepers.
Got Grandpa over here.
No doubt.
By golly, Jeepers.
I have a 7-year-old little girl. I'm trying to watch my language the best I can. I'm glad I'm doing it. It beats the alternative of me dropping F-bombs over here.
Yes, it does.
See, now I lost my train of thought. I went all Jeepers on you and golly gee.
Hey, I got a question because I think we got 5 minutes.
Yeah, I told you I'd talk you off.
What's the future of Lemon Fresh Day? Is there a outlook to hit the national stage, or what about America's Got Talent? Is that something you guys have considered?
I mean, as neat as that would be, I don't know how original we really are, playing other people's music. There are bands, I've seen cover bands, I did a short spell looking into Vegas and what it would take to get us into Vegas.
Yeah.
And took a few trips down there consecutively, checking out the talent and what it was about the Vegas bands that were different, and I found out a lot. You basically, it's all farmed out of LA. The town's all farmed out of LA through a particular brokerage, but a broker, I should say. But really, the main difference, because Omaha, if you're not from here, you have no idea how amazingly talented it is here. Really, the only difference between the talent that's here and the talent in Vegas is how we look and how young we are. That's really the only kind of difference. Is just being more of I guess just the shallow and the marketability of what Vegas is versus just being talented and good and whatever.
Sure.
But that's kind of like the main. But as far as what we want to do next, we were supposed to finally hit Sturgis this year for the first time.
Oh man.
But COVID kept that, so I'm sure we'll be back next year. But just little by little, bit by bit, continuing to grow. It's after a while you're driving for longer than it's worth what you're going to get paid. So, you're almost sort of like, man, I'd make more and sleep in my own bed tonight.
Yeah,
touring sounds cool.
It's a grind.
Yeah. And again, when you've got kids at home or, or family or whatever, or a job, or it can be tough. It's tough to just pick up and go like that.
Yeah.
Sturgis may be that exception to that rule, but, we're talking about a week in a year.
So where's the furthest you'll go? Like Des Moines, Kansas City?
We've gone we'll go anywhere the money takes us. We got,
if you get paid enough, you're
we did a wedding in Lake Tahoe. We did a wedding in Minneapolis. Sturgis will probably be the furthest gig that we did. We're starting to play more in Sioux City, and we get lots of offers from all over Iowa and western Nebraska and stuff like that. But generally, the money is just not worth making that effort, especially pre-COVID when we've got more offers than we can handle here.
Sure.
So it's a good problem now.
Good place to be.
It's a great problem.
So if there's one thing you can tell our listeners and fans to help you guys through COVID, what would that be?
I would ask not just support all live music, support all local business the best you can. We're struggling, and I'm hoping that there's some kind of relief package that comes sooner or later, no matter who gets elected, to help out. Because again, the industry is dying. The entertainment industry, Broadway and the movie theaters, AMC only has enough cash to get it. Spend money while you can. I know people. It's weird right now, but if you can, get out, because the businesses need it. We need it. I'll survive. We will survive. Specifically, Lemon Fresh Day, we will survive. We have a good guy running the business, but
Great
again,
but
it doesn't matter how set we are. If we run out of venues to play at, then what?
Right.
So yeah, please come out and see us. Not just Lemon Fresh Day, but all live music. Come out, support Two Fun Irishmen and Ozone and Ozzy's Roadhouse and anybody else that's having live music. Copacabana is having a lot of acoustic stuff.
Sure.
Even acoustic stuff. Yeah, support everything you can while you can.
I couldn't agree more. I'm trying to get out as much as I can because life has to move on. I'll continue to support you. I know Justin will.
Thank you.
It's been an honor having you here.
Yeah,
Appreciate it, Danny.
It's been a lot of fun, man.
Well, thanks.
Good luck in the future, and hopefully COVID can kind of get past us here shortly. This has been The Brother Side. I'm Alex.
I'm Justin.
Thanks again, Danny.
Thanks, Danny.
Thank you.